Good morning, all. This slide teaches the subject named Basic Electrical Engineering, which is part of the first semester of Diploma in Electrical and Electronics Engineering C18 scheme. On completion of this session, you would be able to know how we get electricity, what is engineering, what is electrical engineering, particularly electricity, atomic structure. So these points will be covered in this session, in this part of the slide. Now you can see some images. What do you infer from the following images? You see this, it is a cave. It is hut. And the third one is building. Evolutions in human comforts. These images will show the evolution in human comforts. You can see first image is the walking van. The next is bullock cart. The last one is the car. See another facility. It is mud lamp and kerosene lantern. Now the kerosene lamps, candle, bulb, electric bulb, and CFL LEDs. So from all these we can say, with the advent of electricity, the human comforts have increased tremendously. What are the basic requirements of a human being? They are food, clothes, shelter. These are the basic requirements. In addition to these, we can't imagine life without one more factor. What is it? Yes, that is electricity. That much of importance it has. From where we get electricity? We may see the transformers on the street ends, and from where the transformer is getting the supply. The transformer will be getting the supply from the substations. From where these substations will get the electricity? We can see these are from electric power stations. Electric power stations. Now this image will show you how the electricity reaches your home from the electrical power generation plant. You can see the first image is electricity is generated at a power plant. The first part of the image is the electricity is generated at a power plant, that may be a generating station. And second is the voltage is increased at the transformer station. That is a starting point of the transmission, and electricity travels across the districts on transmission lines. It is a part of the transmission. And 4 is the neighborhood transformer station decreases the voltage. And the fifth is electricity is carried to your neighborhood transformers on distribution lines. It is a part of the distribution. And six is the transformer on the other end decreases voltage before entering your house. These may be the distribution transformers which we may see at the street ends. These transformers we can see in our streets. These transformers will decreases the voltage before supplying the electricity to our houses. This picture, what do you observe from the pictures? A man is lifting the stone. These are the two pictures, both are lifting stones. Who is lifting the stone with less comfort, less effort? More comfort and less effort. In both these images, first person is lifting with his own hands, and second person is lifting a stone with a lever. The person using a lever and fulcrum, he is very comfort. Now what is engineering? Engineering, it is the application of the science to the needs of the humanity. It is the profession in which a knowledge of the mathematical and natural sciences gained by study, experience, and practice is applied with judgment to develop ways to use economically the materials and the forces of nature for the benefit of mankind. What is electrical engineering? There are different fields of engineering like electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, electronics engineering, computer science engineering, civil engineering, etc. There are various fields of engineering. Now, what is electrical engineering? The branch of engineering that deals with the technology of electricity, especially the design and application of circuitry and equipment for power generation, distribution, transmission, machine control, and communications. All these are covered under electrical engineering, starting from the generation, design, transmission, distribution, machine controls, communications, etc. You can see the various images: circuitry, power generation, distribution, machine control. Now, electricity, how it is defined and what is called electricity. Electricity is a form of energy. Electricity is a form of energy. The study of nature of electricity has been attracting the attention of scientists for many years. The nature of electricity can be explained on the basis of modern electronic theory of matter. In order to know the nature of electricity, it is necessary to consider the structure of matter. Matter is defined as anything that occupies space and has weight, such as copper, water, air, aluminium, silver, etc. According to modern theory, matter, whether solid, liquid, or gaseous, is composed of extremely small particles known as molecules. A molecule is in turn made up of atom. Those substances whose molecules consist of the same kind of atom are known as elements, while those whose molecule consists of atoms of different kind of atoms are known as compounds. Electricity, it obeys the principle of conservation of energy. Now let us discuss about the atom later. Now the electricity, it obeys the principle of conservation of energy. You can see the image, the right side, energy transformations. Energy transformations, you can see the first image, chemical energy into motion energy. Second, radiant energy to chemical energy, and chemical to motion energy. Last one is electrical to thermal energy. So these are the various, some of the energy transformations. As electricity is a form of energy and it obeys the principle of conservation of energy, the law of conservation of energy, it defines like this: energy in a system may take on various forms. Energy may be available in various forms, that is, it may be kinetic energy, potential energy, heat energy, light energy, etc. The law of energy states that energy may neither be created nor destroyed. Energy neither be created nor destroyed. Therefore, the sum of all the energies in the system is constant. The energy neither be created nor destroyed, but the energy can be transformed from one form to another form. As it is shown in the picture, the electrical energy can be transformed into thermal energy. The light energy can be transformed into the electrical energy. The chemical energy into kinetic energy, etc. This is the law of conservation of energy. Is electricity superior form of energy? Means, what are the specific and certain advantages of electricity over other forms of energy? Is there any such? Is it true or false? Is it true or false? Is electricity superior form of energy or not? It is absolutely true. Let us take an example. Both the cases, both the images, we can see the first one is the normal scooter, second one is the electric scooter. You can see the differences in the images. The differences are, can you list some advantages of electric scooter from the observation? It is smokeless. The main advantage of the electricity is smokeless. Means it is very clean than other forms of energy. Pollution free, means no air pollution, no sound pollution, and it is efficient. The losses are very less. So the electrical energy system or the electricity is more efficient form of the energy than other forms of the energy. It is very quick, less maintenance. As seen in the figure, in both the cases, electric scooter, it has lesser maintenance than the normal scooter. Now let us let us enter into the atom. What is the atom? Atom, as I explained earlier slide, atom is the smallest particle which cannot be further subdivided. It is building block of matter. As I said earlier, it is building block of matter. If molecule consists of atoms of different kind of atoms, that is called compound, and molecule consists of same kind of atoms, those substances are known as elements and compounds. An atom basically consists of a central part called nucleus. Structure of the atom. Yes, it is a simple model of an atom. In this diagram, you can see orbit, electron, nucleus. An atom basically consists of central part called nucleus, as it is shown in the diagram. The central part called nucleus, and around the nucleus, number of electrons are revolving in different paths. That paths are called orbits. The nucleus or central part consists of two types of particles known as protons and neutrons. This shows the arrangement of electron, proton and neutron in an hydrogen atom. A proton is a positively charged particle, and each proton has a charge of 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. The neutron carries no charge. The electron carries negative charge, and each electron has a charge of minus 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs, which is opposite to the proton charge. The mass of the proton is 1.66 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. And that of electron has a charge of minus 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. The mass of proton is 1.66 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg, and the mass of an electron is 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. From this we can say the mass of proton is much higher than of electron. It is 1837 times that of an electron. The mass of protein is 1837 times that of an electron. It means that electrons are very light in weight. Since opposite charges attract each other, a force of attraction exists between the negatively charged electrons and positively charged nucleus. For a given atom, the number of protons in the nucleus normally is equal to the number of electrons. Hence, the negative charge on the electrons cancelling the positive charge on the proton. Thus, an atom is electrically neutral. Thus, an atom is electrically neutral. The negative charge on the electrons cancelling the positive charge on the protons. Generally, an atom is electrically neutral. If an atom loses an electron, it becomes a positive ion. If an atom loses an electron, it becomes a positive ion. If an atom gains an additional electron, it becomes negative ion. It is clear that the size of the atom is very large as compared to the size of nucleus, and thus there is a vast empty space existing in an atom. Now here there is additional information about generators. As we discussed about the electricity and how the electricity will be reaching our homes from electrical power stations, transmission lines, distribution lines, distribution transformers. Now here this is additional information about the generation, to understand the generation or about the concept of a generator. If you have ever moved paper clips around with a magnet, if you move the paper clips around with a magnet, then you have doubled in the basic principles behind even the most complicated electric generators. The magnetic field responsible for lining up all those little bits of metal into a proper Movic haircut is due to the movement of electrons. If you move a magnet towards a paper clip, and you will force the electrons in the clip to move. Similarly, if you allow electrons to move through a metal wire, a magnetic field will form around the wire. There is a definite link between the phenomena of electricity and magnetism. There is a definite link between the phenomena of electricity and magnetism. A generator is simply a device that moves a magnet near a wire to create a steady flow of electrons. The action that forces this movement varies greatly, ranging from hand cranks and steam engines to nuclear fission, but the principle remains the same. One simple way to think about a generator is to imagine it acting like a pump pushing water through a pipe. Generator is to imagine it acting like a pump pushing water through a pipe. Only instead of pushing water, the generator uses a magnet to push electrons along. This is a slight oversimplification, but it paints a helpful picture of the properties at work in a generator. A water pump moves a certain number of water molecules and applies a certain amount of pressure to them. In the same way, the magnet in a generator pushes a certain number of electrons along and applies a certain amount of pressure to the electrons. In an electric circuit, the number of electrons in motion is called the amperage or current. It is called electric current. The number of electrons in motion is called the amperage or current, and it is measured in amperes. The pressure pushing the electrons along is called the voltage and is measured in volts. The pressure pushing the electrons is called the voltage and is measured in volts. For instance, a generator spinning at 1000 rotations per minute. A generator spinning at 1000 rpm, rotations per minute, produces 1 amp at 6 volts. This 1 ampere is the number of electrons moving, and voltage is the amount of pressure behind these electrons. Behind these electrons, only with the application of this pressure, these electrons move. This movement of the electrons is called the current. A generator may get your electrons moving along, but you will need an electric circuit to do anything with it. Faraday, patron saint of electricity, 19th century British physicist and chemist Michael Faraday paved the way for our modern electricity driven world in 19th century. The famed inventor created the first electric generator called the dynamo, as well as the first electric motor. Now we can summarize the points or the topics which we discussed now. In this session, we learnt about how electricity reaches your home, how your home gets the electricity, what is engineering, what are the various fields, various branches in engineering, particularly what is electrical engineering, and what is electricity. Briefly about the electricity and atomic structure. Now you can attempt the quiz. The nature of charge of electron is negative, positive, neutral, none of the above. The correct answer is negative. The electrons are negatively charged. The nature of charge of proton is negative, positive, neutral, none of the above. The correct answer will be positive. It means the proton is a particle which is positively charged. Frequently asked questions in this matter, in this topic: what is electricity? What are the advantages of electricity over other forms of energy? So we discussed up to this session about the topics: a brief introduction on electricity, atoms, and engineering, electrical engineering. All these are very fundamentals. Now we are going to discuss valence electron, energy bands, resistivity, classification of materials based on valence electrons, based on energy bands, classification of materials based on resistivity. So these topics we are going to learn now: valence electrons, energy band, resistivity, classification of materials. Now let me explain what is valence electron. You can see the structure of an atom in which you can see the nucleus and all the orbits. Let us take this as a copper atom. Among these electrons, which one is the valence electron? It is shown in the figure, valence electron. So by observation we can say that the electron in the outermost orbit is called the valence electron. The electrons in the outermost orbit are called valence electrons. Valence electrons may be more than one or one. Whatever the number of electrons, the electrons present in the outermost orbit are called valence electrons. These outermost orbit electrons or valence electrons determine the stability of an atom. They play a vital role in defining the properties of elements. These valence electrons play a vital role in defining the property of elements. Examples: it is an atomic structure of silicon. You can see the last outermost orbit. It consists of 4 electrons. We can also call these are valence electrons. In first shell there are 2 electrons. Second shell 8 electrons. Third shell 4 valence electrons. Now let us take another example, that is copper atom. It is atomic structure of copper atom. Valence electron is noted. It is shown there is only one electron in the outermost orbit. Valence electron is 1. First shell there are 2 electrons. Second shell 8 electrons. Third shell 18 electrons. Fourth shell, that is the last orbit, outermost orbit, only one valence electron. Energy band. Now let me explain what is energy band. The range of energies that an electron may possess in an atom is known as energy band. Three important energy bands are valence band, conduction band, forbidden band. You can see there are three important energy bands: valence bands, conduction band, forbidden band. Valence band. The range of energies possessed by valence electrons is known as valence band. Valence band means the range of energies possessed by valence electrons is known as valence band. Conduction band. The valence electrons are less tightly bound with the nucleus, as these valence electrons are present in the outermost orbit. So these valence electrons or the electrons in the outermost orbit are generally less tightly bound with the nucleus. Even an application of small electric field means a small force. Some of the valence electrons can be detached from the nucleus and they become free electrons. As they are less tightly bound with the nucleus, even an application of a small electric field, some of the electrons may get detached from the nucleus and they become free electrons. These free electrons are responsible for the conduction of the current in good conductors. These free electrons are very important. These free electrons are responsible for the conduction of current in good conductors. These electrons are also called as conduction electrons. The range of energy possessed by these electrons is known as conduction band. Forbidden or energy gap. The energy band in between conduction band and valency band is called energy gap or forbidden gap. The energy band or gap between the conduction band and valence band is called energy gap. These energy gap plays an important role. Resistivity. It is also called specific electrical resistance. Electrical resistance, it is also called specific electrical resistance. It is a measure of how strongly a material opposes the flow of electric current. Specific resistance or resistivity means, or it shows, it is a measure of how strongly a material opposes the flow of electric current. A low resistivity indicates a material that readily allow the movements of electrons. Means these are good conductors. Allows the movement of electrons. The SI unit of electrical resistivity is ohm meter. Ohm meter. Electrical resistivity is represented by rho, Greek symbol, that is rho. Electrical resistivity or specific resistance. These electrical resistivity or specific resistance we will discuss later in the next session or next slide. The next topic is classification of materials. How the materials are classified based on different parameters. Materials, how the materials can be classified. Materials can be classified as conductors, insulators, semiconductors. Let us discuss in detail how these are classified, how the materials are classified as conductors, insulators, and semiconductors, and the properties of these three materials. Properties of conductors, insulators, properties of semiconductors. Various types of classifications can be done based on valence electrons, classification based on energy band, classification based on resistivity of the materials. Now, the classification of materials based on valence electrons. So, based on the valence electrons, how the materials are classified. Now, if the valence electrons, as we know, the valence electrons are the electrons which are present in the outermost orbit. If the valence electrons in an atom of a material is less than 4, the valence electrons in an atom is less than 4, then the type of material is called conductor. An example we can take, let us take aluminum. Aluminum atomic number is 28. Electronic configuration is 283. Whereas this 3 shows that this 3 is the number of electrons which are present in the outermost orbit. So the valence electrons in the aluminum atom is 3, which is less than 4. So we can classify this material as a conductor. As valence electrons or the electrons in the outermost orbit in an aluminum atom is 3. That means it is less than 4. So this aluminum is classified as conductor based on valence electron. Now let us see what is insulator. If the valence electrons of an atom of a material is greater than 4, then the type of materials are called insulator. Less than 4, it is called conductor. If it is greater than 4, it is called insulator. Now let us take one example, nitrogen. Atomic number is 7. Its electronic configuration is 2, 5, where 5 is the number of electrons in the outermost orbit, means valence electrons. So in nitrogen, valence electrons are 5, which are greater than 4. The valence electrons are 5, so it is greater than 4. The number is greater than 4. So that material, nitrogen, is classified as insulator. If the valence electrons of an atom are equal to 4, it is a semiconductor. Example, silicon atomic number is 14. Electronic configuration is 2, 6, 4. The number of electrons in the outermost orbit is 4. Valence electrons are 4, that is equal to 4. So this material is classified as semiconductor based on valence electrons. So these are classification of materials based on valence electrons. If the valence electrons are less than 4, it is conductor. Valence electrons are greater than 4, it is insulator. And the valence electrons are equal to 4, it is semiconductor. The next, classification of materials based on energy bands. Now let us see. Based on energy band, first starting in conductors, the valency band and conduction band overlaps. No forbidden energy gap, means the energy gap is less or no. Easier movement of electrons from valency band to conduction band. It is in conductors. You can see the conduction band and valence band. No gap, no energy gap, no forbidden gap. Overlap, there is a overlap of conduction and valency band, so there is no forbidden gap, then it is called conductor. In insulator, you can see in the image conduction band and valency band. In between there is a large energy gap, large forbidden band or large energy gap between the conduction band and valency band. So there is no free movement of electrons from conduction band to valency band. The valency band conduction band are separated by a long forbidden energy gap. In insulators, no movement of electrons takes place from valency band to conduction band as there is a large gap. In semiconductors, you can see the diagram, conduction band. The forbidden energy gap between valency band and conduction band is very narrow. Empty conduction band, filled valence band. The last classification of materials based on resistivity. We have discussed the classification of materials based on valence electrons. Next, classification of materials based on energy band. Now the third one is classification of materials based on resistivity. In conductors, if the resistivity of a material lies in between 10 to the power of minus 8 ohm meter to 10 to the power of minus 6 ohm meter, then that material is called conductor. If the resistivity of a material lies in between 10 to the power of plus 12 to 10 to the power of plus 18 ohm meter, then that is called insulator. If the resistivity of a material lies in between the conductors and insulators, it means 10 to the power of 0 to 10 to the power of 2 ohm meter, then that material is classified as semiconductor. So these are the three type of materials which are classified based on resistivity. Comparison among these three, conductor, insulator and semiconductor. In valence electrons, in terms of valence electrons, in conductor it is less than 4, insulator is greater than 4, in semiconductor it is equal to 4. Energy gap in conductor, it is overlap, there is no gap, insulator it is large, semiconductor it is narrow. Resistivity 10 to the power of minus 8 ohm meter to 10 to the power of minus 6 ohm meter. In insulator it is 10 to the power of 12 ohm meter to 10 to the power of 18 ohm meter. In semiconductor 10 to the power of 0 to 10 to the power of 2 ohm meter. Electricity, in terms of electricity, how we can compare these three, conductor, insulator and semiconductor. Electricity point of view, conductor conducts the electricity, insulator does not conduct, semiconductor partially conducts. Charge carriers, conductor free electrons, conductor has free electrons. Insulator, no charge carriers, no free electrons. In semiconductor, electrons and holes. Valence electrons and electrical conductivity. Some additional information on valence electrons and conductivity. The valence electrons are also responsible for the electrical conductivity of elements, which may be divided into metals, non-metals, and semiconductors or metalloids. Metals or metallic elements are elements with high electrical conductivity in the solid state. In each row of the periodical table, the metals occur to the left of the nonmetals and thus have fewer valence electrons. The valence electrons which are present have some small ionization energies, and in the solid state they are relatively free to leave one atom and move to its neighbor. These free electrons can move under the influence of an electric field, and their motion constitutes an electric current. They are therefore responsible for the electrical conductivity of the metal. These are some examples of good conductors: copper, aluminum, silver, and gold. They are good conductors widely used in industry. Non-metallic elements have low electrical conductivity and act as insulators. They are found to the right of the periodical table with valence shells which are at least half full, except of boron. Their ionization energies are large so that electrons cannot leave an atom easily when an electric field is applied, and they conduct only very small electric currents. Examples of solid elemental insulators are diamond and sulfur. Solid compounds containing metals can also be insulators if the valence electrons of the metal atoms are used to form ionic bonds. For example, although elemental sodium is a metal, solid sodium chloride is an insulator because the valence electrons of sodium is transferred to chlorine to form an ionic bond and cannot move easily in an electric field. So, solid compounds containing metals can also be insulators. Now, semiconductors. Semiconductors have an electrical conductivity intermediate between metals and nonmetals and also differ from metals. Their conductivity increases with temperature. The typical elemental semiconductors are silicon and germanium with 4 valence electrons each. Their properties are best explained using band theory. As a consequence of small energy gap between a valence band which contains the valence electrons at absolute zero and a conduction band to which electrons are excited by thermal energy. Now let us summarize all the points. In this session, we learnt about valence electron, very important topic, very important point, valence electrons, energy band, resistivity, classification of materials based on valence electrons, energy band, resistivity. Attempt the quiz. The material which contains less than 4 electrons are called conductor, semiconductor, insulator, none. The right answer will be the conductor. Choose the semiconductor from the following: A. Aluminium, B. Copper, C. Silicon, D. Diamond. Semiconductor is silicon, the list. The materials which contains exactly 4 valence electrons are known as conductor, insulator, semiconductor, known as above. The correct answer is semiconductor. Semiconductor contains exactly 4 valence electrons. If valence electrons are less than 4, it is conductor. If it is greater than 4, it is insulator. The material which contains more than 4 electrons are called insulator, semiconductor, conductor, none. The right answer is insulator. Frequently asked questions from these topics, what we discussed in this slide. Define conductor and mention 2 materials used for the same. Means 2 examples of conductors. Define semiconductors and mention 2 materials. Means examples of 2 semiconductors. Distinguish conductor, insulator and semiconductor based on valence electrons, energy bands and resistivity. Thank you. Thank you for the session. I hope you learned all the topics good. All the best.